It was so much fun. Oh my God. And of course, you got up there drinking beer or whiskey. And by the time you got to the 12th station, you were shooting anything that moved.
If we have nothing else, then I'm going to
Five
Robert Sullivan. He is the with Dart as community
Anyway, well, let me know if you go out of town.
There. Thank you. I'm glad to be back here. You always have, it's a very welcoming group and you provide me lunch. So that's nice. I am working with the tech people. They will hook up and we'll be starting the PowerPoint.
Select my tripod.
So I just asked for a little bit of patience. In the meantime, a lot of my presentation is generally just about for people who are unfamiliar with the system. But I think everybody here is to some degree familiar with the system. So rather than going through as though I need to bring you up to speed, I will instead open the floor to questions. So if anybody has any questions for me about DART and the situation, please let me know and I will be very happy to answer. All right, since it's silent, I need to, dead air is bad. I will just say DART has been around for more than 40 years. It was founded in the early 80s when 13 different cities got together, joined their resources to establish a transit organization that would serve this end of the Metroplex. We do buses, we do trains, and we have a streetcar. We also have recently expanded our train coverage for the Silver Line, and a lot of you should have flyers of the Silver Line. This was a project that took 5 years to build. It had been on the books since the late 80s, and we were very grateful to finish and open the thing back in October of last year. It runs from Plano, east-west, out to Terminal B at DFW Airport. It is the train is made by the same people who did the Denton train. It is a different beast than our light rail. It is larger, but it's also quieter, smoother, cleaner, and nicer. And if the first week we get there, it was free, but since then we do charge you, but it's the regular prices, and that runs by time, not distance. And part of our goal here is DART is aware that economic and population growth in the Metroplex is spreading north. And so we have built this with anticipation of growth over the next 40 years and the growth of the population needing ways to get around the Metroplex. So this is our investment in the future. It also serves very clearly the airport. So if you need to get to or from the airport and don't feel like paying the extortion parking they have at the airport, you could just use the Silver Line and they will be very happy to take you right to the airport. It's the regular price bit. It's DART tickets work by time, not distance on the system. It's all the same rate for buses and trains and the Silver Line. The cheapest ticket we have is for 3 hours, and then it's $3. An all-day ticket is it's okay, I forgot to turn mine off too. The all-day ticket is $6. If you want, and this is for DART service area. If you also want to go to Fort Worth and Denton, it'll be $12. But if you're up somewhere at this area or in the north service area, you want to get to the airport, $3 ticket, it'll get you covered and get you there.
Not to be negative, so, but we all know what we're faced with, and I don't know what's expected. But one of the things that it said to me was that it's weren't you could just get on a train or whatever, and nobody ever took a ticket. And so there are a lot of people running free or.
Now, this is a question we get to the streetcar you bring. The buses, you have to show a ticket right there when you get on the bus. You have to have the machine or show it to the driver. What we call is the honor system for the trains. This was part of the plan back when we built the stations and planned the system in the 80s. They don't have railings or turnstiles at our stations. What we do have is fare enforcement, which is part of our security, and we have a contract with the security company. They check the trains randomly to see if people are there and have their tickets. If they do not have a ticket, they are forced to get off and they have to pay an additional ticket, which is more than just a regular ticket. Now, I am going to anticipate some questions here. Creek ridership is down. It's also worth noting most of DART's revenue does not come from fares. Yeah, the ticket box, it comes from the ones and sales tax in all the member cities. While there is an issue with people trying to ride for free on the trains, it is not a severe one. And honestly, it's mostly young people and teenagers. A lot of people have understandable suspicions and concerns about the unhoused using DART's system. That is something we are aware of. It's something we deal with on an ongoing basis. But if you see somebody who looks unhoused on the train, chances are they actually have a ticket. Because there's a number of NGOs and charities that will provide them a 24-hour voucher pass to ride our system. Related to stuff going on right now is that those numbers of the people doing that tend to increase in August, January, and February because of extreme weather. So this coming weekend and going into next weekend, we're probably going to see an increase in the number of the unhoused using our system. I say shelter because understandably they want to place that.
Well, sí, sí, sí.
That's, we're a transit agency. We are not a shelter agency. So we work with a number of different groups trying to find other options and situations for the people who feel a need to use our system all day just to survive. You. My system is up. Let's see.
Woohoo!
Big service area. Back to questions. All of you are already familiar with this. Is there something you would like me to cover? Something you'd like me to explore? Any questions you'd like me to answer? Yes, sir.
Security.
DART has its own police force. This person crosses so many different jurisdictions. If there is a situation on a bus or train, it is easier for us to have our own police force and then to work with the local forces. We do have contracted with a security force to help us enforce fares on trains, and we have fare enforcement as well. They are a rotating force. They are not regularly stationed at any particular station on an ongoing basis. So they move around depending on the need. Is anything else I can answer about that, sir? Okay, thank you. Multimodal is one of the terms that's just a fancy way of saying we have trains, we have buses, we have light rail, we have commuter rail, and we have paratransit. We worked with Trinity Metro and the DCTA. This is our system, and this is the trains. The Silver Line is our new line. Like I say, I was just talking about it, runs from DFW out to Plano and Shiloh Road, 10 stops along the way. Go Pass app is how people can pay. It is an app that you can get through the Google Play Store or any place you can get an app. It lets you buy tickets online and plan your route. As I was saying, our fares, if you want to get an all-day ticket into $6, a 3-hour pass is just $3. If you want to get a full regional, they'll let you go to Fort Worth and Denton, then it doubles the price. These are the areas covered by the Denton Tex Rail. We have our own Go Tap Pass card. This works like a debit card. You put money on it, and you can only use it for DART services. And that's actually my hand. I was minding my own business, and they coerced me into being a model. Anyway, you use your card. There's a bluish gray box on a pole at all the train stations. You go out there and you tap it, and it counts your fare for the day. DART has a number of discount programs, and this includes for seniors, veterans, and students. They will get a special issued photo ID so that they can use it. But all these people with special discount programs, they pay half rate. College students are included too. And the women in the photo there are the co-workers. They're the ones who made me go out and get my hand photoed. Other students, for high school students and middle school students, they can also get half rate. You can pay with the Go Tap Pass card, and there get the machine I was talking about. If you pay on cash, the only place you can do that is on the buses, so we ask you to pay exact change. A lot of this is just common sense here. You will know the bus you will leave, and then you look for the number of that bus and then board. If you want to get off, you push the yellow stripe, and that will let the driver know to stop. Schedules are posted at all of the train stations. And you'll know the direction. The train will have a sign on it that reads the last stop. In this, you were asking about security, and the fares of people riding for free. This is our fare enforcement officer. This is the uniform they wear. This time of year, he's going to be wearing a long sleeve variation of that with probably a jacket. But we do have them that go around and check the trains randomly and not on a fixed schedule. Listen closely for an announcement of the next stop. Trains at a station, they're only going to be there with the doors open for 15 to 20 seconds. So get ready to get off or get on. Most of the times people have been injured in terms of these trains is when somebody sees the train and the doors are closed and it's starting to move and they really want to get on anyway. Please don't do that. Just wait 15, 20 minutes for the next train and just you'll save yourself a whole lot of passing. Not all of DART's service area has trains or buses. We have some areas that we call GO-Link. These are areas here highlighted in gray, like Preston Hollow, Farmers Branch, Cypress Waters, South Irving, West Dallas, North Central Irving, and so on. We're actually in the country club. We're in the North Central Irving zone. Now those areas, we have GO-Link, and with that, it is kind of an Uber service. Anywhere in that zone, they will take you point to point. That will pick you up and take you someplace else in that zone. That is to help make up for the lack of otherwise bus coverage or train coverage. Safety, there's a lot of common sense stuff here. I give variations to this presentation to immigrant groups, school groups, and a lot of this is just common sense. Assume that the bus driver can't see you, be very careful. Look both ways when you cross the street. Don't mess with it till it's completely stopped and the doors are open and so on. If you see something that is concerning you on the app, we have a see something, say something function which lets you learn DART commands, and this could be anything from maintenance of a broken sign to somebody's getting rowdy and the police need to intervene. Car transit is a special program we have for people with mobility issues. This is a point-to-point service through the entire service area. It doesn't have to be medically related. People can use it to go visit family, go grocery shopping, or to the doctor. We just ask them to book a day in advance and get special certification, and we will move them around. Silver Line, I've been talking a bit about this. This is our new line. It runs from Plano to the airport and back again with stops in Richardson, Addison, Carrollton, Dallas, Capel, and Grapevine. It was a big event when we opened it in October, and again, we were all grateful to have that thing finally done after 5 years of working on it. This is what it looks like on the inside. Big, new, nice, shiny, clean, and very quiet. All right, now it's worth noting that several North Texas cities have scheduled special elections on May 2nd, 2026 to let voters decide whether their cities will withdraw from DART. These include Plano, Irving, Farmers Branch, Highland Park, and University Park. If the voters do approve leaving, DART services in those cities would end immediately after the results are certified. Bus routes within the withdrawing cities would stop, and other regional routes would be cut or shortened. Light rail stations in those cities would close or see disrupted service. DART will remain ownership of the stations there in Irving, for example. We will just no longer stop there except for special occasions. ADA paratransit services would no longer be provided in the cities that exit, and many bus stops and multiple rail stations and GO-Link zones would be impacted. From February 11th to March 21st, DART staff will be presenting information on the proposed changes and potential service changes, including updates to GO-Link, bus, light rail, commuter rail, and so on. This information will be shared at DART community meetings held in each member city and are open to riders, stakeholders, and the general public. The one for Irving is scheduled for February 11th, and it will be at the University of Dallas. And it will run from 5:30, starting at 5:30, and it's open to the public. These community meetings will take place in advance of the Board of Directors public hearing scheduled for March 24th. And does anybody else have any questions for me? I've got a couple of questions. Ladies first.
If the para or like the community, you know, they go someplace. If they pull out darts, will that still be available?
Excuse me, I didn't do that in the microphone. Yes, if a city withdraws, it will no longer be any of the dart services. That includes buses, trains, and paratransit. If there is anybody who is a resident of Irving, and Irving does vote to withdraw on May 2nd, then it's certainly by the end of that week, since the elections is certified, all services in Irving from Dartmouth.
So then doesn't it follow that if 5 or 6 cities pull out of dark, the roads made out of dark, does you get your revenues to the city, sales tax are not from this fire. And nobody's gonna have dark because the dark won't exist, they won't have the funds to operate.
Actually, it's more complicated than that.
Sure it is.
Specifically under the law as written, all the cities are required to be a part of a bond that helped generate DART in the first place. They will continue to pay for DART for about 10 years. They just won't receive DART services.
That's 10 years. Question comes though, what if they don't? What if they don't continue to pay their lawsuits?
Okay, that's,
I'll put you in a sort of a,
I don't have an answer for that. I'm not even going to speculate. I'm kind of at the end of what I can say right now. That's the first time I've heard that a city might withdraw and then stop paying because they are legally obligated to pay. Now I can see hypothetically they would stop payment to try legal maneuvering. I can see that happening. I could not even begin to speculate on what that would mean or what that would look like. Now theoretically, if they withdraw, they are legally obligated to pay for about 10 years to cover their bond obligation. What happens if they change their mind? I have no idea.
It's a serious question, though, isn't
It is, now that you mention it, and that's the first time I've heard of it. That doesn't, it is a serious question. I like to observe that Texas politics, like Texas weather, is entirely wild swings. It's the same. It's Tuesday, it's one thing, Wednesday, it's something else. That could happen. I just have no idea how to shake out.
Go for it.
He had a question. I'll get back to you in just a second. Yes.
Yeah, so I want to play devil's advocate because what I've heard why people are, upset with DART to begin with is, we're paying more and getting less. We're about to lose another bus route that, a lot of lower economic people depend on. So how do we communicate that, it's still a good service. There's still, what's the response to the big question is, hey, we're paying a lot of money and each year it feels like we get less.
That's a frequent, I hear that frequently, and I will simply say, well, not simply, I'll say that I have been expressly ordered by my supervisors not to speculate and to have a very narrow script. I cannot speak to people's opinions. I am not supposed to express my opinion. If you have these concerns, please attend our public hearings. And you may attend Irving City Council meetings to also discuss this. And that's honestly all I can say without having to talk to my supervisors and maybe HR.
Sure.
Let me get the man back up. She was asking about the go-lick zones in Irving.
Get a haircut.
All right, Irving does have buses and trains. Hypothetically, if somebody is in South Irving zone and they need to get to, North Central zone, they will need to change the vehicles. The, GoLink vehicle car in the South zone would only take them to the north edge, and then they would need to move into a different vehicle. But there's a lot of the rest of the Irving that is served by buses and trains. There are currently, as far as I'm aware, no plans to make all of Irving a single GoLink zone. I know that something like that has been proposed for Plano, but I don't think anything like that has been proposed for Irving. Semi-regular basis, yes. I know I can see the implication there. Both current fleet of buses and the fleet of trains are reaching the end of their service life, and they're being phased out. The buses that we have already, DART has already ordered new buses. They have started to arrive, and over the next 2 or 3 years, they will all be replaced. We are working on a plan to do the same thing for the trains. So yes, if you're on a train and it feels skanky, that's understandable. We got some out there that look skanky, but please know that we are in the process of working to replace them.
I used to ride the train all the time when I worked. It let me out right in the hospital. You know,
Yes,
and I didn't feel scared. Maybe it was my shift.
yes, sir.
2 questions. Where are the old trains and buses gonna go? And if a city pulls out and then they realize, oh, we do need it, if they want to pull back in, how's that?
Okay, he was asking about what happens to the old trains and buses, and then what happens if a city changes its mind.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know about the buses and trains. I believe they'll just go to a junkyard and be sold for scrap and parts, but I know we don't keep them. It's not like we have a great big pile of old stuff in the backyard.
No museum?
No.
You can recondition a lot of them too.
I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure they're all sold for parts and scrap.
Yeah, exactly.
What happens after that, I don't know. We find every minute and every inch of use we can out of all of our equipment, but some of it just finally does wear out, and I think we just sell it. Now, in terms of the cities coming back in, again, I don't want to speculate.
It could happen.
Say, I think it would be legally possible.
Yeah.
But I don't know what that would look like.
And if they're still paying, they should.
I mean, if everything's up,
As, you know, if they're still paying that bond for the next 10 years, I could see. And depending on how things shake out in a few years, I could see them changing their mind and trying to come back.
and if
But
nothing,
I'm not gonna say how it would look. I don't know.
so you got, I
I
guess,
think it's legally possible, but I don't know what it would shape out to be.
so it's kind of like, if you pull out the building, oh, if you pull out, if the cities pull out, all of the destruction or what was created to make that space, does that, okay, thank you, sorry.
So can I go over Jesus? Okay. Make the words. All right, if you pull out of the city pulls out and they decide to join back, if it was built, right? What happens to that land?
Okay, that's a good question. DART retains ownership of any of its actual property. We will retain ownership. For example, this is it doesn't show Irving here, but this is going to be Irving because the T Irving runs right through Irving, and parts of the Orange Line too. So like the Irving Convention Center, the University of Dallas, and so on, DART would retain ownership of the rail lines, the right of way, and all the stations. We don't actually own the bus stops because that's on city property that's on sidewalks.
Okay.
The signage would theoretically be taken down. So if it says bus stop, what's it over just Main Street, that signage will be taken down. But we retain, DART retains the ownership of the rail lines, the street, the easement, and the stations. So if the city did come back in, we would just start using the stations again and we would put the bus stops back up. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you just have the rail
line and everything, they don't just go through, they just won't stop.
Yes, sir.
In the city, but
Yes, sir.
you still have to have tracks, and you have to have A to B. So, you know, you have to still have all that stuff.
Mhm.
But your buses probably would stop because they're just in the city.
It depends on the route. For example, if we got, Carrollton, let's say there's a bus that runs through, Dallas, through Irving up to Carrollton. Legally, Irving doesn't get to stop that. We would decide, on best efficiency, cost effectiveness, and so on. But just because Irving is no longer a member city doesn't mean it gets to stop all our vehicles right at the edge of city limits. That's actually a Supreme Court case that was found on a different situation, but it's applicable here. And that's just the way it works. But yes, we would decide, is it worth the gas money and time of driving through
But you
Irving?
drive right through to the next place, and then they have to get an Uber or something back to their location, probably.
So if Irving were to hypothetically leave, we would decide on, make plans and work that out in all the different bus routes. But yeah, we would maintain the train stations and the railroad because we need to use them. And we would just make sure it's all safe.
I got so much to say.
And if you got another question, shoot, man.
No, I'll hold my tongue. It's all good. Thanks, Steve.
Question, and I understand the limitations of what you can say, and we found that out the other night. Our city council is or they cannot take publicly a stand on, I mean, we know what decided, but do you know the date at which that is it in February is that the council could decide, no, we don't want that on the ballot? Because I'm concerned that things could change, but yet if the issue would still be on the ballot.
My understanding is that all the cities have 30 days before the election to cancel the election. So if it's less than 30 days, they're going to have to keep on holding it. So I think to the end of March, they can to change their mind if it's at.
Books would be printed by then.
Yes.
So we're probably somewhere in February, that they would have to decide, okay, we've reached some type of agreement with DART, and we are not gonna have the election to pull out.
Maybe to the end of February. Aside from that, I don't want to
Okay,
speculate.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
They addressed that yesterday in the homes. The ballot, because the ballots have to be printed in February.
Uh-huh.
Will probably, the ballots will have the referendum on it, whether there is a referendum or not. Because it's the drop dead date for, and I think what they said was March 24th. Is when they have to decide whether they're gonna go ahead with the referendum or pull it off. But the ballot will be printed. Probably will have it on it anyway.
Okay, because I know I heard that drop dead day of it even being printed on there.
Yes.
And to me, that creates confusion. I'm a cockeyed optimist, and something can be worked out between DART and the city of Irving. I can say that because I'm retired from the city. But others have restrictions as to what they can say.
Yes, we're not even supposed to get too emotional when I come out here and do these things.
Don't stir me.
I've been told by my
Yeah.
boss. Passionate, just passionate, like.
So you're off the clock.
Dodge spoke this time because they have to have an election every 6 years.
Yes.
We will be safe for 6 more years. Is that correct? Or could they put something down the road on the school election?
That's a good question, and I don't know. I keep hearing different things. I was at a Carrollton meeting on Tuesday, and they seem to think that if they didn't do something now at all, they wouldn't be able to do something again until 2032. I don't know. I've heard also the version that it only kicks it down for 6 years if they lose the election. So I honestly don't know. I don't know if they have to do something now and then wait 6 years, or if they do it whenever they want, unless it fails, at which point it kicks it down for 6 years.
The consensus that we heard yesterday morning at the Henry Holmes breakfast forum was that a lot of things are going to have to be determined in the legislature. And what you're bound by what you can say here But everything is, when it gets to, when the legislature meets in next year, then nobody knows what's going to happen. After that.
Yeah.
But it's going to take action of the legislature to change.
Yes, well, whatever happens is going to involve the ledge sooner or later. Even if the cities want to leave, they're going to have to get a rubber stamp approval from the ledge. If the elections pass and Irving, is leaving, is going to have to get approval from the ledge. But there's also stuff that's been dusted up in the last few days, that some of the member cities want to change in the board of governance. That's also going to require ledge approval. However this shakes out, if any changes happen at all, it's going to involve the ledge.
But in the meantime, you're gonna, if it passes, you're gonna suspend service anyway,
Yes, sir.
even though the legislation hadn't even heard of the case.
Again, Texas politics, whether it's all crazy. And so hypothetically, we are all just, if Irving were to withdraw and that happened, the vote happens on May 2nd, and then, we end all service by the 4th, the ledge could either approve that or they could just, change their mind and
They can
demand,
force, right?
demand that we resume service, as soon as they're back in session.
Meeting and say, no, till we look at all the things and everything, you guys have to store that.
That could happen. I'm not gonna guess whether or not it will. I just will sit down. That could happen.
I appreciate the fact that you come here today.
Yeah.
It's a kind of an explosive topic.
Oh,
A
yes.
lot of people in the city are very emotional about it and nobody. It's just, thank you for being here.
Yes.
It's, taking it on the chin.
Thank you. That's what they paid me for. Thank you.
It's raised.
I'm already with that. I'll give you my boss's number.
Yeah.
Just my own silly opinion, but do you all think, just looking at all of Irving, do you think people really, our citizens really understand the pros and cons of this election?
No,
Some
They
do,
don't.
some don't.
no.
Okay,
I would say the vast majority don't.
You could ask that about, without being, you could ask that about every single thing on the ballot about
But how do you
every single
educate?
election. There's enough voters
the
understand
problem.
the issues and what's going on and the language. And
Gotta
it's a good question. I said, no, they do.
Communicate it to everybody so they get it.
So once it's a little different than like a political election or something. And, but just my gut feeling is people say, it is or it isn't. I don't think they really understand
No.
that when it stops, but bam, we keep on paying that sales tax because of the obligation.
Kind of like I'm
So that's what I'm starting to see. And I hope it's not on the ballot, to be honest. That's where I'm standing.
I tell you, I worked for the railroad for 38 years, and when they new railroad, or they buy up another one, they would close a line, they would literally close it. And all the customers and everything else on that line had to start going like truck. So that's what you guys gonna have. And you get rid of rail and everything, you have Uber, I don't know, buses, you're not gonna, because this has been going for 40 years. They're very well with good, with the transportation.
I can make this observation. Driving in this town is always such a joy. It's so much fun. It's about like the time I rolled down a flight of steps. It's about that much fun. And that said, I was making jokes. Easily on the regular weekday, like today, easily north of 2/3 up to at least 3/4 of the people who use DART are using it for work-related tasks. Around 50% of the people who use DART on a regular basis are in one car families. So if somebody's driving the car somewhere that they need to get out, they don't have any other options except for Uber or taxi if DART goes away. So regular usage is for work. And a lot of the users don't have any other options. Please think about how that will impact employers if a significant part of their workforce is now having to make some very deep changes just to get to their job.
And you look at bicycle racks too, so
Yes.
they can do their stuff and get on a bike and get back on.
As one who was here back in the dark ages when darts started and all, they traveled all over the world looking at systems and everything. And I just recall that well. I think where there's room for, my personal opinion, some type of give and take. City of Dallas holds the cards, maybe when one city holds it, and maybe they don't use the judgment that some other cities might have, you're gonna run into trouble long term. And I think that's what has happened. I haven't been totally impressed by how the city of Dallas is run, period. So,
I live in Dallas. I'm not impressed by it.
but y'all see my point
Yeah.
here. When Dallas holds the cards, that's one of the reasons
Right.
that there's.
People are unhappy. Yeah.
Is
So who do they want
because
to hold it?
if the Dallas folk, on the board, if they don't want something, that's it. You can't override that block vote. I'm telling you, or Irving has one or two, Dallas has.
That's actually, this might get me in trouble. Please check out an article in the Dallas Morning News recently. It was about the Dallas Transit Committee. They had a meeting. They're talking about forcing a change in the governance of DART. That would change the proportional ratio of who had the most power on the DART board of directors. And this is moving to push DART and the city of Dallas to have less than 50%, which means they would no longer have the majority vote.
Woohoo.
That article was in, I think it was Tuesday's paper.
I did read that, and
Yep.
a way out, a position I was leaning toward anyway.
Carrollton, I listened in on the Dallas City meeting, and then I went to the Carrollton meeting that evening, and they were discussing the same thing in Carrollton. Again, I'm not gonna guess how this goes, because it'd be like trying to guess about the weather. We'll just have to see how it shapes.
Or
And with all due respect, unless somebody has another question, I got some food here I really want to take care of.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. That is all I have today. Does anybody have anything? Shane?
Just real quick, this Saturday is our RILA training meeting. It's gonna be on Zoom, because they don't want people out driving. So if someone would like to see what RILA is about, this would be a good opportunity to just kind of peek in, because you can just listen while you do whatever you're doing. If you still have power and internet, which, we're not gonna hold our breaths because, but, maybe we'll be more fortunate this time and you can jump in. So if that is the case and you're interested in participating in the RILA training, which means you could just watch and learn, let me know and I'll share that link.
Share the link with all of us.
Okay, then I will get it to Mara and Mara will send it out to everybody. She's awesome like that. All right, thanks.
Okay.
I mean, what else are you gonna do on Saturday when you can't drive?
Exactly.
We're all stuck home or we freeze to death.
So next week we have Light Up to Live Foundation coming to talk about all the things they do for our veterans. It's a great organization and I'm excited to hear them talk. And Major LeBlanc will be here to hand out the red bells that we all love so much and talk about Salvation Army stuff. So if nobody has anything else, please stand and Patty is going to lead us in the 4-way tests.
Please join me in the 4-way test that Rotarian states say are good. First.
Is it the truth?
Second.
Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
You got this.
Fourth.
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
I just said that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks, cool.
What
what do you do?
Good. I always like this. It's a good life philosophy.
Great. Great. I had a deep rushing my house today to meet.
He'll go there and go with it. It's been bonded back up.
Good.
Good.
Yeah.
I checked with my office administrator and she said she didn't get this invoice yet.
Didn't?
Fine, so.
Of the
Let's see.
Let me dive in.
email
This is.
got typed wrong or something,
Don't get a.
Let's see.
but
Cause
I was hoping I'd see you today so I could check that out.
yeah, okay. That's right.
Office at Woodhaven Press, PRES, or yeah, it looks right to me.
Okay. Cause that was sent. I don't know.
Can you resend it with me on it?
Yeah.
And then
So I've done.
that way,
Living in
if it's getting blocked or something,
For sure.
I can just forward it.
What's your, I don't have it.
You don't have me? What am I gonna do with you?
I don't know.
We gotta remedy this.
We do. Indeed, indeed. And if you want to do it again, I can do it better. I need to get I'm getting
We
another.
keep bouncing that.
Hopefully, I need to go check out Vince's because my buddy, he plays baseball.
Yeah.
And MLB, and he wants me to shoot him this Wednesday.
Okay.
But I gotta go to a camera store to rent a lens.
What kind of lens?
I want a 27 to 50 millimeter for this, so that I can shoot like film.
Like the telescopic, the long one?
No, it's gonna be like how you see all these sports clips of people training. They're basically cinematics that I can shoot from here, because this is just a 40 for like portraits. But it's a 27 to 50
I said.
Yeah, maybe take a little bit of money.
that I'm needing, and I'm like,
I'm forgetting which ones I have, but I don't think Canon and Nikon are compatible, are they?
they're not, but I do have a
It started, for like.
Canon as well. I have a
Because
EF
didn't mention in this presentation, but,
Rebel.
the,
TI.
session later.
I haven't pulled that up. Bought some lenses back in the day and I still have it all. I just, I need to upgrade to digital.
Nah, so it's all film.
It didn't work.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really
What
cool.
if, they both basically got.
I love
both
that.
Basically
I
got.
love that.
So I used to take a lot of measures.
When you
Stuck
start,
out the way it did. Then
That's a good question. I want to say,
And so this has been going on, I would say at least 18 months.
Okay, listen.
uh,
Alrighty.
I probably.
It's like, that was a dumb question.
No, it's not a dumb question. We keep chasing that around and, we don't. Full on.
No, that's what I mean. I took it off.
It seems to be a mix of
Pictures, of course.
desperation,
But yeah.
money bag and irrational.
Doing film was.
Because I can see wanting the money
So
back.
that's really why I thought, because yeah.
But the fact that it's
Usually
usually found paying that bond for another 10 years, so you're basically going on a decade.
And then it just kind of,
Swear I'm not getting
I got a nice
I
little
cannot call it.
case and
Yeah.
sit in there so it doesn't get dust on it, but
Okay.
otherwise it's.
Like you, maybe.
I would like to.
this and see.
There
you go.
Because, yeah. the
Come out
lenses
and
and everything was so hard.
Talk about how
Yeah.
badass you are.
this thing I have to get a adapter to put my old lenses on, which is such a bummer.
Yeah.
But when it works, but it's not.
All right.
There's so much. I'm waiting to tell.
Yeah.
Right now, especially right now, there's a lot.
Yeah, well, if it makes sense, you got some time, we haven't printed the picture yet. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely, I wanted to. make
And,
sure you got-
you know, because I don't have my ties.
Well, we can do it, if you wanna do it next month.
Okay, yeah, yeah, okay.
And then I think I have
And at
your
least that way
hard
I'll
drive.
have an option.
You have my what?
Old pin drive. I have someone's old pin drive. They gave it to me one time and.
Yeah.
It's been.
It might be
It
mine.
might be yours. So I'll get that to you. It's in,
Not worried about
it's literally right there.
I'm not worried about it at all. Did you want to chat? Jordan sent an email saying you wanted to talk to me about stuff.
Yeah.
Or do you need to head
So
up
I got your email
about the
about the,
content challenge?
yes,
Whatever.
I'm on board with that.
Okay.
That is what I think that's what I
Yeah,
said.
just let me know what I can do. I know you sent me an email saying.
I'm
yeah,
on
we can
board.
Do it.
Yeah.
Jordan sent me one saying,
And let me see, what
Casey had
did
some
I,
ideas.
what did
I'm good
I?
with whatever ideas you have.
Okay, okay,
I
awesome.
trust you. That's your thing. So,
Yeah, as far as
I know the one check that was for the whole year, right? The year's worth.
Yeah. It's been
The payments.
Oh, yes,
Okay, okay,
I think so.
okay, all right. Cool. My wife was doing. I was like, I think this is it, because the beach shifted.
I'll allow,
So,
but
okay.
I'm not.
Okay. That's what I, yeah. She's like, what are you doing? So you on me? Yeah, baby.
It's supposed to be more than.
But it was, I mean, that was, but I took over for Jordan, and then if you shifted, then everything got whacked or changed.
Okay,
So I'll go back and double check on my email,
okay,
let you know, because,
yeah, just let me know what.
I'll definitely double check that.
Okay,
Yeah, but this was just good. I enjoyed it today. Oh, so you do the communication side of things?
yeah, fun job.
Yeah. I undergo for moving Carrollton, the airport, up to downtown Depot. I've got a big chunk of territory.
Big chunk, and a lot of busy pockets.
It's very, I do things like this, a lot of what I do is I go to schools, to the, younger kids to talk about safety.
Okay.
Stuff I breeze by today is like, stuff I focus on when I talk to third graders.
Yeah, I know the biggest thing, like Shane mentioned it, was if people are unaware if they vote, right?
Yeah.
And so it's just like, how do you communicate that to
We,
those, I don't want to say little people, no one's little,
no,
but the minds of people that don't understand, like, the magnitude of what's being
Yeah.
provided.
and the people who, I would say myopic, not necessarily bad, they get very focused on their own life.
Yeah.
Nothing happens.
Yeah.
We do the best we can. We do media outreach, and we are gonna have, as I mentioned, meetings in all the cities. I would schedule a meeting for University of Dallas. And I actually suppose there, because we were actually concerned that if we had rec centers, the city might use full to cancel the. So I went to the University of Dallas, so let's see.
Okay.
But we do the best we can. We meet around, we use social media, we use regular media, we have. I come out of that.
Yeah.
But even then, we know we're missing a fair amount of population, short of going door to door.
Mhm.
We need.
I mean, yeah, and that's the last resort, right? Nowadays, right? Door to door is like the last thing, especially in certain places. But I feel like safety is important, and not like you can always have things safe, and it's not like you need to kind of see what's the safety dude on the dark really not a lot. I mean, like that's a different dynamic too. So many things. Like, people can break that. They gotta be yes. There's something
What I do.
you don't see, you know.
Sounds good.
Oh, well, thank you for your flash. That's great. I got some non-beautiful people, I love it. Oh,
Have a blessed one. Stay tuned. Keep a warm thought. Well said. Definitely.